So Dan, I was asking about in the area of beliefs. What are you covering?
Just that, kind of the concept is that your belief is kind of a foundation. It feeds a lot of behavior. For example, I think people are mean. Can kind of be a belief that you're going to act off of, and therefore, that's going to affect, or the other way around, the opposite type of belief.
I want to use this.
You want some help here?
Yeah.
Got it?
I don't know. Maybe not. Don't do very well. Oh, there we go. Up there. And almost there. Okay, great. Okay. So, are we recording? Okay. Rosalie.
Rosalie, yeah.
Okay, David. Everyone here has name tags on. This is your first time?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. This is, we're recording this, by the way. It gets on YouTube once I edit it down. This is the NLP Meetup group with what we talk about, neuro-linguistic programming, and you have some experience with NLP, can I assume?
Very little.
Okay. To introduce neuro-linguistic programming, the easiest way that I like to think about it is a science of how we internally represent the world. Everyone is different. Everyone, in a lot of ways, have similar ways of sorting information, but each in our own way, we do it individually. Once we understand how someone sorts that information, how they sort of organize their reality, it gets a lot easier to understand them, to communicate with them, to influence, give them support, to change their mind and things like that. So neuro-linguistic programming has been described as the science of subjective reality. I always use the story or the example of, if you like hamburgers and you are thinking of a hamburger that you want, you can really start to want it if you make that picture in your head really big, black background, well lit, full color, and slowly have this hamburger rotating. If you do that in your head, you have a picture of something that really looks desirous. But if you change one thing out of it, if you just bleed all the color out of that same image, all of the interest, all of the desire tends to just evaporate away. So that's one of the examples of how our subjective reality affects us. What we're going to sort of focus on today is about beliefs. And that's a fun topic because beliefs, I don't think of beliefs as truths. They're not true, they're not false, they're not good or bad. What they are just filters. They're just ways of making our life simple. A belief is a way that we can generalize something so that we don't have to think all the time. An example would be if you just move into a new area and you step outside your door for the first time and you look over to the corner and you see, the very instant you look, you see two cars colliding into each other and causes havoc, and there's flashing lights and everything that happens. Okay, so you have an experience. Well, maybe the next time, the very next time you step out and you see a lightning bolt come down from the sky, hit the transformer on that corner and explode everything, and you're in darkness for 4 hours. Okay? And then the third time you step out of your house, you look over to that corner and you see someone get mugged, you have enough experiences to make a generalization, a belief about that corner. What would you say about that corner?
It's like a dangerous corner.
A dangerous corner. No, it isn't. It's only 3 events that happen throughout the entire life of that corner, and you're making a broad, sweeping generalization about that corner. But they're useful. I mean, if that's all of your experience of that corner, then you may want to pick a block around and walk around it next time. But it doesn't represent the truth. So beliefs don't represent truths. They represent ways that we can sort of look at reality. A way to recognize a belief when someone is speaking to you is, the technical term is, the first one is cause and effect, or A equals B. In cause and effect, typical belief is, you make me mad. A causes B. Dan does crappy work. Not you, Dan, a different Dan. But, or this person causes trouble. That's an A causes B type of sentence. That's a belief. Now, is it true? Do you really make me mad? No, but that's a generalization I have about interacting with you. And so when I come with that generalization to any interaction, I'm going to start with a prepared response of getting angry. Just all I have to do is to wait for the right thing to happen, and I'll verify, yes, you make me mad. The other way that we recognize beliefs through our language is called complex equivalency, and that is A equals B. So the example of, that's an unlucky corner. The corner is, that's the equal sign, unlucky. Dan is a great accountant. Okay? That's how we hear those beliefs. And again, are those things true? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe Dan is only a great accountant every time he has worked with me. Who knows about anyone else? I only have this one set of experience to form these beliefs. Did you have a question?
No.
I saw you. Okay.
When it was A leads to B, what was the word that you used? Like
A causes B.
A causes B.
Yes, that's cause and effect. And A equals B is complex equivalency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So equivalency, A equals B, basically. That's how we figure it out. So again, and a lot of times when we talk about the whole thing of beliefs, we start thinking way too broadly about, our belief in God, our spiritual beliefs, our moral beliefs, and things like that. The beliefs go much smaller and vary in all sorts of ways. They're simply, just keep in mind, what would happen if we didn't have beliefs? We'd have to make judgments in every moment. But beliefs help us protect ourselves by responding very quickly. So you see a dark alley, you have a friend who's got mugged in a dark alley, you saw someone get mugged in a dark alley, you got mugged in a dark alley. There is a generally good belief that not to go into dark alleys. They're useful. They're incredibly useful. They keep us from having to think all the time. That's the good news. The bad news is they're not always helpful. So we always talk about limiting beliefs. And limiting beliefs are, again, generalizations just so that we don't have to think so darn hard. But they don't necessarily help us because they're not necessarily true. So when I say a limiting belief, what comes to mind?
I hate working out.
I hate working out. Okay. Okay. Now we could change that to working out is.
Not fun.
It's too much work.
Okay. Yeah. Working out is too much work. That's stated in the form of a complex equivalency. Working out is boring. Working out is too much work. Okay. Good. Good. What are some other limiting beliefs that we could think of?
I always get nervous public speaking.
Oh, public speaking causes me to get anxious.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay, that's an A equals B.
Okay.
Yeah, A causes B. Dan?
A limiting belief. Well, this might sound kind of silly, but I do hear people say this, like, people are stupid.
Oh, yes.
People are so stupid. What's wrong there? Stuff like that.
People are stupid, yes.
Very large generalization.
Yeah, very good.
I just heard one this morning, somebody said, oh, I gotta work with some of the millennials this morning.
Oh,
Yeah, the millennials are stupid.
During the whole week.
millennials are mind draining, yes. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Okay, and again, these are not true. And in some of these cases, they're not even useful. I mean, a great belief I have had to work with people is, I'm too old. You know? You should start your own work your own business part-time. I'm too old to do that. Or I'm too old to go to school. Or I'm too old to take a class. Is it true? No, it's not true. It's just a broad sort of blanket belief we have about ourselves in this case. So take some time now. I'm gonna write some stuff up here, and I want you to take some time, and if you've got a paper and pencil handy, write down some limiting beliefs. If you can, preferably some of your own limiting beliefs. Drop this for a second. Do we have a drawing? We have some pens over here, don't we? Yeah, that's okay.
Oh, I might have a pen. Do you need a pen?
No, I can use this.
I don't like to get my shoes dirty. Like, remember when I bring up the thing today, I walked outside and I was like, oh my god, my shoes are gonna get dirty, and I was already running late, so I ran back inside to change them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, not to be too, maybe splitting hairs, but like, it's just stated in belief, like, getting shoes dirty is not good.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, I mean, again, when you say I don't like to get my shoes dirty, that's almost like, I mean, is that limiting a belief, or is that like just a preference? Like, I like to stay clean, that's
Well,
kind of fine,
that's a
right?
statement, yeah. Dirty shoes makes me,
Angry or upset
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
annoyed.
A,
Question
think of it
myself,
as
maybe,
A
or
causes
something.
B, or you could say, dirty shoes are disgusting,
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay?
right, yeah, that's,
I see someone with dirty shoes, I know something about them that I don't like. Because dirty shoes are disgusting. Now that generalizes to the person.
Yeah, so I guess my belief isn't that intense then, because it's
No.
not, I don't really believe that, I would write that, but I don't believe that, it's more of like,
Yeah.
we had a conversation about beliefs and preferences this year, that's what made me bring that up.
Right, yeah, beliefs and preferences are different. Okay. All right, so as long as we have a couple ideas of things that we could work on, that'll be great. Let me know when you're ready, we can proceed. And you can consider beliefs that start with the word, the pronoun I.
It's like, I'm not,
Yeah, or I am too. Okay, you got a couple?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, I just want you to notice the very first thing, which is what we've done is we now just have isolated the belief. And we've also just framed it in terms of a belief is not necessarily true. We do use them to run our life, but now that we've isolated a belief that you recognize limits you, what thoughts or feelings come to mind? What do you notice now when you see a belief that is obviously holding you back? What is it? Yeah, how do you respond when you recognize it now?
I question its accuracy.
Yeah, okay.
Or like, why, I question why I believe that.
Right.
Or what like formed it, or why it's there, what
Okay.
purpose it uses.
Okay. Dan?
Okay, what's the question again? Yeah.
Well, if you've isolated a few beliefs that you recognize limit you, knowing now, first of all, that a belief does not have to be true, and knowing that you have isolated some beliefs that are holding you back,
Mhm.
what thoughts and feelings come to mind?
Yeah, just that, limiting beliefs. Well, obviously, I mean, maybe this is redundant a little bit, but it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That belief obviously can keep you stuck, because,
Oh, they do, yeah.
but yeah, just, and also thinking about, like, again, this is kind of part of the whole bigger picture of NLP, is like, how do I represent that belief when I think to myself, because one of them I have is, I am lazy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
why do I think that? Have I had experiences that make me feel that way? And what are those experiences in my mind? How do I represent that?
Right.
Sometimes I see myself like, alarm clock goes off at 6 or 6:30, 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hitting snooze, So I think of those things and I go, yeah, that means I'm lazy,
Yeah.
So working with those memories and those
And also,
representations.
and with that as an example, those are beliefs you hold sometimes only in a context. Because if you're staying up till 9, 10 o'clock at night, doing bookkeeping for somebody, in that context, you're not lazy.
Right,
Okay?
right,
You're working yourself to death, maybe.
right.
But again, sometimes beliefs are only true in a context. I sometimes get really grumpy in the morning, and or in the evening. She gets grumpy in the morning, and so we have these beliefs about ourselves in the context of the time of the day and what we're doing.
Yeah.
Rosalie, did you get anything that if you've written anything down, when you're looking at them now and recognizing them as a limiting belief, how do you feel toward them now?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because
Well, it's a good point that what's happening now is you're actually now, maybe for the first time, taking these beliefs and looking at them with some skepticism, with some questioning. And just understand, beliefs are so deeply ingrained, people get really defensive when you try and challenge them. Really defensive. If you're going to help somebody change a belief, especially if they're not first agreeing with that it's limiting them, it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle. So here you're just now looking at it, recognizing it as a belief. So you're feeling a little more detached to the belief, sort of wondering about it, or
well, I just think that it's reality that I don't like experiencing pain, and that's just a fact.
oh,
And do I have to get myself to like pain to do the things that?
that's okay. Okay, I wouldn't. That is stated as a belief, maybe, but I would not. I would put that in a very useful category.
That's my main.
That's not a limiting belief. And yes, there are people who do like experiencing pain in various fashions. So but that's not what this is about, so,
Pain is a very broad term too.
right, right,
I mean, pain could be resistance or, you know, some of the natural things that happen when you do something you want.
right.
Um,
Yeah, so in that statement, I wouldn't even consider a belief because you said I don't like, and a belief is stated as I am, or this causes that. Pain causes me to scream.
So if I said something like, I'm a hedonistic person.
Yeah, that's a belief. That's a belief. Okay? If it may well be a useful belief, in fact. If it enhances your life, what beliefs are going to do are direct your focus. If your focus is getting you where you need to go, great. So let's talk about the beliefs that are holding us back. I am lazy. I'm too old. Yeah.
In something just popped into my head, like with your thing about your shoes. Is it like I'm too uptight about, you know, getting my shoes dirty? Is that kind of the, you know, could it be related to that?
It is a social thing, I know. I think it stems from like middle school and like having to have clean shoes to be like, you know, getting made fun of if your shoes were dirty and stuff. So I think it comes from that. So it's more of like I don't really care about the clean shoes things, but it's about how like people perceive me. And
So like, is it, I'm just saying like, is it something that holds you back? Or is it like, no big
Right.
deal that
Right.
I don't like getting my shoes dirty, but like, are you saying like, oh, there's times when I could have gone and had some fun
Right.
in the park and it held me back because I didn't want to get my shoes
Yeah,
dirty?
the important thing is the belief handicapping you. And
Yeah,
in
is
that
the
case, I don't think not liking pain is a handicap.
Yeah, it just could be smart.
Not liking work could be a handicap, and you know, and you might believe work is painful in some context, so we'd have to deal with that. But you know, I don't think believing that believing that you have to avoid pain, or that I forget how we phrased it. But anyway, yes.
so how about like I'm not attractive or good enough for somebody?
Oh yeah, that's definitely a belief.
Okay.
That's definitely a belief. Okay. Okay. This is enough that we could work with it. I drew this little pyramid here to give you an example about how our life is sort of filtered. At the very bottom of the pyramid are our behaviors, just the things that we do. If you're going to influence yourself or anyone else, the end result is through their behaviors. And this is like serious micromanaging, basically. If you're trying to stop smoking, lose weight, something like that, and you're focusing on behaviors, your mind just totally has to be focused on everything you're doing right at that moment to do the right thing. But when you go up a level, now you're looking at things that control everything below it. So thoughts control behaviors. So now and it controls more, thoughts control more below it. So as you go up, once you're able to examine your thoughts and look at them, you're able to control a lot more behaviors. As long as if you can control your thoughts, your behaviors are going to be more under control. Let's keep going up. Emotions. Emotions, if you have control over that, control a lot of thoughts and control behaviors below that. Now, beliefs is really a combination of emotions and thoughts. And if you can change your beliefs, how you feel, your emotions are going to change, your thoughts are going to be directed in a certain direction, and your behaviors are going to be directed. So we're going to focus mostly on beliefs, but let's just go up the pyramid. Above beliefs are values, which are those things you hold most important in life. Now these could be things you actually decide to be most important in life. But if you don't, they're going to be there anyway. It could be family, it could be self-preservation, it could be, the next drug fix you're going to find. It's going to be whatever. Your values are going to be there. They are going to be there whether you examine them or not. I encourage you to examine them and pick the values that you want to direct your life. But once you have that, things get a lot simpler. You start focusing on your beliefs are motivated by your values, which motivate your emotions, your thoughts, and behaviors. All the way at the very top of the pyramid is the I, the identity, how you see yourself, who you are as a person. When I'm working with somebody in hypnosis, the first session is designed at getting the result. They either want to get rid of their cravings for cigarettes, or have them see food differently, or maybe control anxiety. But the second session, I want them to see themselves as a person they admire. So I work right on their identity and make sure that everything follows below that. So we're going to focus on beliefs here, so I wanted to just point that out. There are two really useful ways if you're working with somebody to help them change their beliefs. I'm going to go with the most complex one first. It's through submodality changes. Okay? Who is familiar with submodalities? Okay. Submodalities are ways that we are subsets of how we experience things. So for example, if we're experiencing something visually, we have an image in our mind. One submodality will be, is it in color or black and white? Another submodality will be, is it in motion or is it still? Another submodality is, how far is that picture out in front of us as we see it? Another submodality will be, is there a frame around it? And there's a whole bunch of submodalities, but I'm just going to ask you to first of all think of a limiting belief that you need to get rid of, that holds you back, or one that just at least isn't useful. Okay, tell me when you've got one in your head. Got it? You got it? Rosalie, do you have a belief? Okay. Make a picture of that belief. When you have it, nod your head so I know. Okay? Now, look at that picture of that belief. Notice several things. Notice, first of all, how far out in front of you is that picture of that belief. Register that in your mind. Is it in color and black and white? Register that in your mind. Notice the size of it. Is it really, really big? Or is it really, really small? Okay, and that's usually enough right now. Okay, open your eyes. I just want you to notice in your mind when you make a picture of your belief, and notice two different things about it. Notice what it would feel like if that picture were like way up close, but it was only the size of a picture, a postage stamp. It was that big. Okay? And notice how it would feel if it was far away, but really huge. And just notice how that would affect you. Each one being different. Okay? Do you notice a difference between how you would see those two beliefs? You notice how it would feel anyway. Okay. So I just wanted to make that distinction for you. You know, some people will say, "Oh, I believe I have confidence. I believe I am strong and capable." Make a picture of that belief. Okay. Is it in your field of vision? Oh yeah, it's all over my field of vision. How close is it? Oh, it's this big. It's like the size of a postage stamp right in front of my eyes. Okay, well, we could probably make it bigger and do some things to it to make it even stronger. But I just want you to be aware of the submodalities of the belief that you have. So do you have that? Yes? Okay. Now I want you to make a belief of something that you know is no longer true. So, you used to ride a bicycle, you used to go to high school, nothing that is traumatic, but just something that is, you know, you used to vote Republican, you know, something like that, I don't know. But something you know is no longer true for you. When you have that in your mind, let me know. It used to be true, but it's no longer now. Now, notice when you make a picture of that belief, what the submodalities of that belief are. Got it? Okay. Notice the difference between the belief of what you is holding you back and the difference in the submodalities of the belief that's no longer true.
Can you redefine submodality again?
Yeah, a submodality is a subset of a sense, a sensory organ. I'm using simply visual terms now, so a picture that you make in your mind is a modality. A submodality is going to be, is the size of the picture. So is the picture big or small? That's one submodality. Another submodality is going to be, is it far away or close? Another is it in color or black and white? Another submodality, is it in motion or is it still? So all these are submodalities. I want to make sure you understand this. So does that make sense? Okay. So if you've made a picture of a belief you know is no longer true, then it has very specific, let me start over. If you've made a picture of a limiting belief, it's going to have a certain set of submodalities to it. It's going to be a different picture. It's going to be a different shape, a different size, whatever. The picture is going to be there, but it should be somewhat different than the image of the thing you know is no longer true. Is that true for you? You notice there's differences? You too, Dan? Rosalie, have you noticed that too? Okay. Follow along?
Sort of.
Okay, okay. Well, okay, so we now have two different images. Image of a belief that holds you back, and the image of something you know is no longer true. Now let's take a third belief, something you know is true and is positive. So it could be, it is true, you know, I love my family. It is true the sun rises in the east. It is true that breathing is a great idea. So any of those things, make a picture of that in your mind. And so when you look at that, you see it in a place with all the submodalities of something that is true. So when you have that, one of those in your mind, so do you believe that, go ahead, you have a
Wait,
question.
can I say something? It is true, I hate pain.
Let's take something completely neutral,
Okay.
okay? I mean, we could do that, but it has pain associated with it, so let's go with something
It
like,
is true that grass is green, kind of thing.
great,
Okay.
yes, so when you make a picture of that belief,
Usually.
grass is green, or the sun rises in the east, or that breathing is a healthy thing to do. So make a picture of any one of those, okay? And have you got one?
I have to think of something that really is true, because I guess there's all these very...
You love your family.
I have to say something like, we usually breathe autonomically, I guess.
Okay,
Because I overthink things, so I have to
Okay.
think of something that...
breathing is a usually unconscious process.
Mhm.
That could be a true statement. Okay. So have you settled on a belief that works for you?
Yeah.
That's true. Okay. So make a picture of that belief in your mind. Follow along with me. So do you have the picture in your mind of that belief?
Mhm.
Okay. When you look at that picture, how far out in front of you is that picture?
Maybe 5 feet.
5 feet. Okay. Is it in color or is it in black and white?
It could be either one.
Okay.
I can see it immediately.
How big is it? If you were to like, you could either draw it with your hands or just measure it, sort of guess.
Pretty big. I'm looking at the size of that screen. I could probably fill that up. Too.
Okay, great, excellent. Okay, so it's 5 feet in front of you and the size of that screen. That's, okay. And this is something you know is true. Okay. All right. Let's go back to the belief. Have you settled on a belief that limits you? Keep in mind, neurolinguistic programming, we can't just get rid of something. We have to replace it with something else. That's where we're going.
Would the limiting belief be something like I cannot get myself to do something?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right, I got one.
Okay, great. Do you want to share what it is, or you don't have to?
Like if I just said like I cannot get myself to meditate regularly.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's a belief. So make a picture of that belief now.
Okay.
I can't get myself to meditate regularly. Okay, now, how big is that picture?
It's smaller than the screen, but it's like
Okay,
it's still right there.
is it about 5 feet in front of you?
About 10.
10 feet, okay, so further out, a little smaller.
Mhm.
Color, black and white, either one, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So it's further out and it's smaller. Okay. So let's get that third one here. What's something you know is no longer true for you?
I used to be in great shape.
Okay,
I was very fit.
okay. Let's get something that has no emotion to it whatsoever. So did you
Okay,
used to go to a gym that's no longer available? Or did you used to go to high school?
Yeah, a lot. Okay. Yeah.
Or you used to drive a car that you don't drive anymore?
Yeah, all those are true.
Excellent. Let's pick the car thing.
Okay.
So think of a car. I used to drive this car, but I don't anymore.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that one. So make a picture.
Mhm.
How far out in front of you is that?
It's almost as big as the heartbeat one.
Okay, so it's as big as the screen over here.
Or the big one, yeah.
How big and how far out is it?
About maybe a little farther out.
Little farther out. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the same size. Okay. This is the one that used to be true. Okay. So go ahead and take the image of you not being able to meditate. I want you to have the very same image. We're just going to move it. We're going to push it. I think you said 5 feet out.
The meditate one was about 10 feet out.
10 feet out.
A little
Okay.
smaller.
Okay. We're gonna move it in every way. It's going to be the very same image, but I want you to reposition it and resize it so it's in the same size of the car that you used to drive, but you don't anymore.
Okay.
You got it? Now, when you look at that image and you see it now in the area of things that used to be true, how does it feel different?
They don't seem to even have anything to do with each other.
How does it feel different? How does the belief, when you now think of it's hard to regularly meditate, when you now think of that, how does it feel different now that you see it in that other?
It almost feels like it's in the past because
Right.
I'm comparing it to.
Because it's in the place that used to be true. So you got a real visceral feeling just by changing the size and the position of the image. All right? Okay. Imagine the belief that you can regularly meditate. Not an hour, but 10 minutes a day. Imagine just having that belief. And what I want you to do is I want you to build that belief the size of the screen there where the heartbeat was. And notice what it feels like when you see it. What is it? How did that feel? I saw you smile a little bit when you did that.
I mean, it's a nice thought.
How does it feel different?
It feels doable.
Right. That's where we're going.
Okay.
Now, put some epoxy on that image there. You know, nail it in that position, so that whenever you think of that, you see it right there.
Mm-hmm.
Got it?
Yeah.
Feels good, doesn't it? Right. So you notice how much more is it true that it's hard? Just how you feel right now. How much more true does it feel that it's hard to meditate regularly?
It still feels like it's hard.
Okay.
I even have videos of meditation. I
Okay.
have a video I can play for myself every day to meditate, and I just would,
Okay.
yeah, that's nice.
Okay.
Do it.
Okay, we'll manage to change just a little bit of it. All right. Okay, good. Okay, so let me explain what I did. And this is the complicated way of doing it. We'll go through the really fast way of doing it. Okay, so we started off, there are actually 4 things, and I did this from memory without writing it down, so I was a little limited here. But there are 4 things you have to find out. You have to have the limiting belief. And so you have to have all the submodalities of that. So if you're working with somebody, you ask them, well, think of that belief. Tell me, make a picture of that belief in your mind. How do you see it? How big is that image? How far out in front of it? Is it color? Is it black and white? Is there a frame around it? So get all the submodalities of that. Then you have the belief of what you used to be true. And so, with the belief of what used to be true, make sure it is nothing that has any emotional content to it. I used to drive a certain car, now I don't. I used to ride a bicycle, I used to be in high school. And so, you take the limiting belief, and it's the very same picture. You just move it and resize it into the area of what used to be true. If you've done that right, it will feel like it used to be true. It's not true now, it'll feel like it used to be. Okay, so you've managed to switch this into this position. Okay, now you need to know something that is true. And again, think of something that's true. The sun rises in the east. It is healthy to breathe regularly. I love my family. Anything that's true. And you get all the submodalities of that. And then you ask the person to make the desired belief, or the positive belief in this case. And once they make a picture and you get all the submodalities of that, you have them just change. It's the same picture, but you move it and resize it into this position right here. Right here. Now the general effect of what's going to happen is, as long as they keep those images in their mind, that's why I say epoxy it. Make it solid. Hammer it to that image. Make it that size. Once you do that, that's the only way they can see it, and they should generally, they should notice that the limiting belief just doesn't feel true anymore. Isn't real. An example of working with submodalities. that I came across is, for a while I was in I worked in a group setting in a place that had a lot of people who had some serious emotional problems. And so we were in a group setting, I was doing my thing, and whatever, this lady to my right somehow got totally pissed off at some other lady over here and just laid into her. And the group ended, and this lady over to my left was totally traumatized. She was just like, I can't do anything. And I said, okay, just follow along with me. Close your eyes, make a picture of what just happened in your mind. Just follow along. She did. Good. Now, imagine stepping out of that picture. So you see yourself, as if from a distance. You got it? Yes. Good. Push that picture 10 feet away. Tell me when you've done that. Okay. 100 feet away. Tell me when you've done that. Okay. Move that picture off to the side and put it behind you. When you've done that, let me know. Okay. Now stick a pole from the back of your head connected to that picture, so if you look around it's still behind you. Tell me when you've done that. Okay? I said open your eyes. And she's looking around going, what the heck? I mean, she was traumatized. She was like shaking and crying, and all of a sudden every part of that thing that she just experienced was 100 feet behind her, and she couldn't. She would look around and it's still attached to that pole in the back of her head.
Interesting.
And that was how fast it really worked. So this is what we're trying to do with changing beliefs here. Okay, this is the complex way. This is also not the best instructional method to do it. This usually should take place of course, about a day of demonstrating this. But I want to show a really fast way to change a belief using what's called the meta yes and meta no. Have I demonstrated that here? Okay. Okay, who has a serious belief they want to get rid of and want to replace it with a positive one? If you want to volunteer, you're going to come up here and do that, but it's entirely up to you. I want you to be comfortable doing it. You okay? A belief that is holding, that you just need to get rid of. You know it holds you back. You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Great.
Can I leave my notes back here?
Yeah, you can leave your notes there. Let's see, go ahead and have a seat right over here. Excellent. What is the belief you want to get rid of?
That I'm not like attractive or good enough for a certain person.
Okay. And what do you want to replace it with?
I think it's the opposite. I think I am. We're on the same level. I am attractive enough.
Okay. Yeah, there's no one above your status. What's the phrase? There's no one above my level, or
Yeah.
there's no one out of my league.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
like,
that's good.
yeah.
Okay, great. Think of something that you would absolutely say no to. Now, and nothing that's traumatic, nothing related to what we're doing, but if you saw your son running into traffic and you saw something happening, you would scream no
Right.
and really mean it. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want you to do is, on the count of 3, both you and I are going to say no. I'm going to move my finger that way as you say it. We're going to do it enough times so that, and I want you to bring that feeling up really strong. Ultimately, we're going to do it enough times, and I want you to really try and link this to that feeling of no. Okay? So on the count of 3, we're going to say no. Bring that feeling up really strong. 1, 2, 3, no. Stronger. 1, 2, 3,
No.
Again. No.
No.
Again.
No.
Really feel it.
No.
Again.
No. No.
Stronger.
No. No.
Again.
No. 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 No.
Okay. I just want you to notice something. Okay, one thing, I noticed when you said no, this would jerk, and that jerked as I did this. So I could tell that we've got it. You felt that no
Yeah.
really strong.
For sure.
Okay, great. So I want you to think of, this person's out of my league, or whatever it is, however you think it. So I want you to think that thought. And as you think it, I'm going to move my finger this way, and I want you to say no. Okay, so think the thought, 1, 2, 3.
No.
Again,
No.
stronger,
No.
stronger.
No.
Think the thought.
No.
Again,
No.
again,
No.
again,
No.
again.
No.
Okay, when you think that person's out of your league, now what does it feel like?
I think it's a no.
I think it's bullshit, yeah, okay.
Hurt.
Okay. Now think of something that you know is true, that you would say yes to. Okay? And something that's healthy, obviously.
Right.
I'm always afraid I'm going to ask somebody, think of something you'd say yes to, and they would think of murdering their boss. No, something that's healthy.
So like just something simple like
Yeah.
a healthy meal for me that I'd be willing to.
If someone offered, if you like strawberries with whipped cream, and you'd say yes. Or you've been in sporting events where something great happens, you go, yes!
Right, right.
That kind of yes.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay. On the count of 3, you and I say yes. And make it as strong and as positive as you can. This time I'm going to move my finger this way. Okay? So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3,
Yes.
Stronger.
Yes.
Stronger.
Yes.
Now really mean it.
Yes.
Again.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Now, more joy.
Yeah.
Again.
Yes.
Again.
Yes.
That's it, even more.
Yes.
More.
Yes.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yes.
Feels better, doesn't it?
Yes.
Stronger.
Yes.
Again.
Yes.
Again.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Now, how would you state the belief? I would say, there's no one out of my league.
Yeah, there's no one better for like in this situation than me.
Right.
So there's no one out of my league.
I want you to say that in your mind. And I'm going to do this, and I want you to say yes. You got it?
Okay.
Okay, bring that feeling up. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
And again.
Yes.
Again.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Feel good?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you think of what you used to believe, what do you know now?
Well, it just seems silly what I used to believe.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's BS.
Yeah.
And when you think that, and when you now think that this person is out of your league, you know it's not true.
No. It's something I used to believe.
Very good.
Thank you, David.
Okay. I don't do it all the time. I used to do it regularly with smokers. And I have them bring up a really strong no, something that they would really hate and had nothing to do with smoking. And I have them try to want a cigarette and say no, 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 no. Then I'd have them say, or bring up I'd get a really strong yes, and I'd have them shout in their mind, I'm a non-smoker. Yes, 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 yes. And I can spend 45 minutes working with somebody, and I usually like to, help them make those changes. But if I'm really have a short amount of time, I can get a really strong result, so that they can't even want a cigarette. And if you go to my YouTube channel, University of Hypnotism, you should see a video that I have there of a lady I did that with exclusively. It started off with this, yes, yes, no, no, for smoking. Just let it right into a hypnosis session. At the end, I asked her to try and want a cigarette, and she started to feel nauseous. That was not my intent. It was just the result of how her mind sort of worked. So, what we're going to do is we're going to break up and do this with each other. And I'm going to point out, first of all, how it works. You just get a very strong emotion. It's either going to be a yes or a no. And you just have this anchor so that it's associated with the feeling. There are two different anchors. And you're just taking one belief and you're creating an umbrella of emotion over that belief. And just filling it. If you want to get rid of the emotion or get rid of the belief, you just have a really strong no, and it goes away. If you want to strengthen the belief, then you have a really strong yes, and you associate it with the positive belief. And it's really straightforward. So you're going to ask a couple questions. You're going to ask, so I'll go through it in detail. Ask, what is it you want to change? What belief do you want to change? So that. Think of something you would absolutely say no to. Nothing traumatic. I did that by act. I didn't put that in there once, and some lady went back to a time that she was traumatized, saying no, no. And I was wondering why she was crying and crawling up the wall as I was doing this. So yes.
With something like I really do, I don't like pickles.
Yeah.
Somebody offers me a
Perfect.
pickle, I'm like, no.
Pickle.
So not too.
Or if you're
emotional,
working-
but just I really don't
Right.
like it.
That's a strong no. Or another example of a strong no. If you know the person's a musician, you ever hit a bad chord? And it makes me go, ugh, it makes my eyes bleed. You know, no, that kind of no. Okay? So yeah, a food you don't like is something I will often say. Think of a food you don't like. And so yes, that will give you a strong no. Then you take the negative belief and you just hammer it with that no. No, 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 no. So you're first going to set up the no response. Then you're going to have them think of the negative belief and fire the no response. You can do pretty much the very same thing with the positive belief. Think of something you would say yes to. We've all had the experience where we're watching a sports team or a family member compete against something and you go, yes! And that's such a great feeling. That's how you want that yes to come out. Okay? And imagine now taking that yes and blanketing it, just making an umbrella over this positive belief. Yes. It becomes very strong. All right? So, enough information for you guys to break up and do it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You and I get to work together. Okay, this will be off camera. Good, good. Oh, okay. So it's 2:30. All right.
Time for
Well, actually, just any questions? I was just going to sort of wrap it up here. Okay,
We
most
kind of
of,
started talking about future pacing this.
good idea. Future pacing it. Once you have the change they have in the moment, what you want them to do is be able to see it in the future. And the best way to do that is, in other words, to future pace it. And the wording that I use is go to a time in the future, right now, when you need this response and you have it and it feels great. And then when you've gone through that and you feel great, nod your head, do it again. Another time in the future. Do it several times in the future. And you can do that for as long as you want. You can do it for 3 or 4 times. You can do it for 15, 20 minutes. But they just rehearse it for every time in the future that they need it. So absolutely, always do some future pacing. All right? One of the really, really terrible things someone once did in NLP to someone else. There's a fellow who trained me, got messed with Richard Bandler.
Oh, really?
And what Richard Bandler did to him, he did just to see if it would work. He basically found out what all his values were, and put them in a place that were no longer true. And for like 6 months, this guy was totally unmotivated to do anything. He just sat on, slept on people's beanbag chairs. And he took him a while to figure out what was going on, and he managed to change it. And he confronted Richard Bandler and said, yeah, I just want to see if it would work.
Oh, wow.
The one thing that Richard Bandler did not do is future pace it, and that's the only saving virtue of that experience, is he didn't destroy this guy's values for all time in the future, just for that moment. So, yeah, when you make a change, have them envision it at various times in their future. That's essentially future pacing. So yeah, very good. All right.
Oh, man, that like sparked something with me, because I have gone through a journey where I changed my religious beliefs, which were strongly related to my values. And kind of like in my, my recent journey of like examining myself and stuff, I do find myself unmotivated at times.
Okay.
And so I'm kind of wondering if like I don't have any like good current values, because I kind of like these old values of working hard and stuff like this were related to this religious belief, which is now no longer true for me.
Okay.
And I like,
Okay.
that could be a link to like what would help me get motivated now, is like,
Well,
because I do kind of feel like that sometimes.
Okay.
I don't feel very motivated sometimes.
I'd have to talk more specifically based on what you've told me, though. Values do not have to be associated with a religious belief.
True, yeah, right. But I
so
think
if you
maybe I haven't gotten new value, or what, yeah, I don't know.
well, the idea of determining your values, there are several ways of doing it. One is just think of the motivations that you want to run your life, and draw a statement about each one of them. The top 4 are going to be the ones that motivate you the most. So you will notice that people who are doing well in life, they are clear on their top couple of values: family, career, maybe religious affiliations and service, things like that. But when you become very clear, just again, usually just writing it down. What do you want to be the values to motivate your life, and then how do you define those values? When you have that as a statement in front of you, you'll feel it. You'll feel it. So that would be the first thing I'd tell you. You can also just create a whole litany of a list of values and ask yourself which ones are the most important.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, and I know a lot of stuff that goes on in our head is subconscious, and that just occurred to me.
That's my list of values, I try.
But it just kind of occurred to me that I maybe was taking for granted that I do have some strong values, but
Right.
but like literally maybe that's the big problem, is that like I need to really define
Right.
what they are. I need to replace. I kind of didn't realize that I just kind of I linked to my old probably values of work ethic and things like this and family. It was really related to religion, and when I kind of said, "Okay, I don't believe in this religion anymore," it just kind of went.
Right.
The values went with it. And I
Right.
haven't like strongly replaced that with new values.
Yeah. What I would tell you, between now and when we get together next, if you do any journaling or writing, put thought into this. Ask yourself, what do I want to be the core values that motivate my life? Now, that's a big question, but when you start to focus on it, when you just get 2 or 3 or 4 of those down, you'll immediately notice a difference. Because everything you do from that point on has that filter in front of it. does this action that I'm taking right now fulfill that value? If it does, you don't do it. Or if it does fulfill that value, you feel great because you're living up to how you want to see yourself. If it doesn't do it, it doesn't fulfill the value, you just don't do it.